Howdy, Dennis Bradford here. Let's think some about being, feeling, and doing better. Is evil real? If so, how should we think about it? There's no problem of evil for a Humean. That's not the case if we make the rationalist assumption that God is the initiating and sustaining cause of the world. In other words, suppose that God creates it anew at each moment. If evil is real, given the usual understanding of God, that raises a difficulty. The biblical God is a personal God. That God is supposed to be the creator of the world. Furthermore, that God is often also supposed to be not only morally good, but omniscient, all-knowing, and omnipotent, all-powerful. Guess what? All those ideas don't fit together. Of course, if it's false that evil is real, there's no problem. Similarly, if it's false that God is real, there's no problem. Even Christian theologians, though, typically admit that there's at least the appearance of evil. Also, typically, they admit that there's both natural, ontological evil, such as earthquakes and disease, but also moral evil, such as genocide and rape. If the world is just a set of brute facts, there's no problem. Nobody designed evil to cause human pain and suffering. The problem arises only when we try to combine the reality of evil with the reality of a responsible creator God who is a good person and also omniscient and omnipotent. As Hume has one of the characters in his dialogues concerning natural religion say, quote, "Is he willing to prevent evil but not able? Then is he impotent. Is he able but not willing? Then is he malevolent. Is he both able and willing? Whence then is evil?" End quote. In other words, one common understanding of God is incoherent. It seems to me that Hume puts his finger on a critical weakness of that understanding when he has one of his characters ask, "Why not become a perfect anthropomorphite?" Doing that challenges the assumption that God is, like us, a person. Why think that the divine must be a person? If you answer that the biblical God is a person, why believe the Bible? There's certainly no incoherence in thinking both that the divine is real and that it's false that the divine is personal. That, in fact, is what many spiritual teachers actually believe, especially those who come from outside the Western philosophic tradition that has been so heavily influenced by its most important book, namely the Bible. There's no doubt that human pain and suffering are real. Are they, though, evil? Is evil real? One response that some Christian theologians have made derives ultimately from Plotinus, who wasn't a Christian. If we understood more, might it be that we'd realize that what appears evil really isn't evil? Evil, or sin, can be conceived as distance from the divine. Since there can be greater or lesser distances from the divine, perhaps evil is built into the structure of reality. This is the idea of evil as non-being, non-existence, unreality. It's part of the influential idea of the great chain of being. Augustine used Plotinus's conception of the great chain of being in an attempt to explain the existence of evil. Think of reality as flowing down from above in accordance with the causal principle. That which has greater reality is able to cause that which has lesser reality. Imagine God to be like light at the top. As we descend, the distance from the divine increases, and so the light grows dimmer. Light and dark are on the same scale until we reach the bottom, non-being, where light ceases. At any level in between the top, God, and the bottom, non-being, there must be some degree of light and a corresponding degree of darkness. So the argument goes that it's not that God created darkness, it's that darkness is built into the system by way of the idea of diminishing light. Of course, that raises another question, namely one about God's creating the supposed logic of reality. Whew! There are a lot of interesting ideas here, aren't there? An important takeaway is that there's serious conceptual work to be done to come to a clearer understanding of the world and the divine. My intention is to contribute such clarification in future videos. Let's start next time with a consideration of truth itself. How do we apprehend what is true? Be well.